How's it going, guys? I'm Mark. I'm the guy who did the Black Fencer versus Purple Heart Synthetic Montante review. Today, I actually want to talk to you about actually a very common sword that a lot of people already know about, I'm sure. But I figured, um, the information's out there, but I think I have a few things to say about it that, could possibly be useful to some people. So if some people find this video instead of others, or if they don't want to browse through forums, at least it's here, right? So, yeah, I'm wearing gloves and a hat 'cause it's cold as balls, like it's 25 degrees, so the heater can't really keep up. So if I'm kind of sniffly and shivery, that's why. Anyways, so I want to talk about Regenyei's standard fetish fits. So I've got three examples with me right here, two of which are not mine. One is mine. Mine is the red handle version right here, and these other two belong to one of my fencing buddies and the co-instructor for Richmond Coastal Fashions. Shout out to Mike Croak. Anyways, so I just wanted to talk about these, and hopefully some people will get some good information out of it. So let's get started. All right, so let's talk about statistics and measurements and that sort of stuff. So these are all standard Regenyei fetters. Obviously, these other two have color grips, and this one doesn't. So the standard, with the black grip, comes at a price point of $335 from HEMA Supplies out in Florida. I guess I can talk about them later. But measurements are total length of 51.96 inches, so rounded up to 52. Handle length is 12.59, so 12.6 inches. So that's not too bad. It's just barely under a quarter length of the full sword, but I'll talk about that later too. Cross length is 9.84 inches, so 9.9, round up to 10, whatever. Center of balance is 3.14961, so not quite pi, but basically pi inches from the cross guard. And then we've got a weight of 3.086, so 3.09, 3.1 pounds. And yeah, like I said, the price is $335, and that's for the black handled ones. With a color grip, it's $10 extra for the color grip, and I actually prefer colors personally for various reasons that I'll talk about a little bit later as well. Putting off a lot of things. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's with the standard fetter. Now with a fetter with rings on it, it's going to run $350. So it's going to be $15 extra compared to the one without rings. So that's actually not bad. I like that. It's a good difference. And so the stats are the same length. They're the same handle length, same cross length. And let's see, center of balance is 2.75 inches as opposed to 3.14. So as you can imagine, a little bit more steel in the hilt because of the rings. Makes the balance point go a little farther back. Let's see. The ring widths are actually 10 centimeters. I'm sorry. Yeah, 10 centimeters. I can't believe I didn't convert that. The weight is 3.3289, so 3.3 pounds. So a little bit closer to an actual weapon. And yeah, $350 plus shipping has a price. And if you want to get a ringed fetter with a color grip, it's going to be an extra $10, so it ends up being $360 before shipping. So yeah, those are the stats. So I guess we can move on to other little miscellaneous. So I guess we can talk about handling now, which is going to be interesting because all three of these swords actually handle slightly differently. So mine here, I've got the box-shaped shield on it and the colored grip here, and their standard rolled tip and all that. So, if you want to try to do practice cuts on your own, try to get the whooshy sound that comes straight from the tip. So mine bounces about yay far, just past the shield. So yeah, I don't have a measuring tape on me or anything, but that seems about right. So it's a pretty good balance in handling for a longsword. I mean, they're not going to change too much because they are standard. Standard fetters. All right, this is one that I'm borrowing. This is one of Mike's. He got the crown-shaped shield, and he got a yellow cord and his interesting tape here. I don't know what's going on with that. Yep, he's put a plastic tip on his. And the balance point for this one is, it's actually farther out than I would have expected. It's way out here, which is kind of funny. As a Montante practitioner, I like that better than mine, so he might not get this one back. I kind of like it, even though I don't really care for the crown-shaped shield for the aesthetic reasons. I like the balance point. Also, a thing to note about these handles is the cord, if I can get it on camera, isn't all the same. So we've got a fairly thick and rugged cord on this one, which I actually like a lot. And then on mine, try not to knock these over. Mine is much finer and smoother, which is nice. Don't get me wrong. I actually prefer a thicker cord. If you saw my synthetic Montante review, you probably already know. So that's interesting. So do bear in mind that if you order a colored grip, you might not get the exact same kind of cord wrapping as you've seen on other swords, which is weird. But hey, whatever. It's all good, right? And then now, go on to the cord of the standard, so the black cord. This one has side rings, obviously, so we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is the black cord and what it looks like. Get a good look at that. Now, an interesting thing about this black cord, I found that on these standard models, it's really weird. They're coated with some sort of chemical or wax or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's to preserve the cord or something, but it's covered in some material. And on my first Regenyei that I got, that I ended up sending back, I'll talk about that later, I got one of these, and for some reason, I got this in the summer, and for some reason the black cord, whatever is on it, when your hands start to sweat, which is a bit of an issue for me, I tend to get sweaty hands, especially in the hot Virginia summer, the sweat, it tends to slick on the handle, and I had a really hard time gripping it with bare hands, so I kind of had to wear gloves just to handle this, which was a bit of a drawback. I didn't like that very much. So that's something to look out for. If you've got sweaty hands, you might want to get a colored grip just because they don't have that strange coating on them that I've seen on these swords. And if it doesn't bother you, then it doesn't bother you. If you gotta go with the cheaper price point, do what you gotta do. But yeah, that's the handles just as a whole. Now, personal opinions on the handle. I personally think they're a little thin for my taste. Even though there's actually a reason for them being so thin, is that they're supposed to facilitate good use with heavy gloves on, because you've got thicker gloves on, so you need to be able to you won't be able to grip as much with the heavy gloves on, and you need to be able to feel your handle a little bit better. So these handles are actually very flat in this plane, which is really nice. So they're flat like this, so when you're holding it, you can feel the flat of the handle even with your heavy gloves on, which is really nice. It's a really good touch. So I like that. I would personally, for me, like a thicker handle, more like the Klibowski fetters. I really like those handles on those. They're a bit shorter, a bit chunkier, but that's personal opinion. You can decide what you want. And yeah, so that's the handle. I suppose next I can talk about the pommel, which is another thing I like to talk about. It's a nice pommel. It's pear-shaped. Although I don't get what's going on with this. Like, what's this ridge here? I don't get it. Bare-handed, especially if it's not filed down well, and since it's a production factory, so they can't completely smooth everything over perfectly. It can dig into your hands. So again, you want to wear gloves. So I don't know what's going on with that. Is that to reduce weight or something? But man, I don't like that little ridge. It's just a little thing though. It doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother you. It does me though. But whatever. Let's see here. Put that down for a second. And with mine, something interesting about mine was that the cross guard going onto here wasn't filed all that well. It was filed better than my first one, but when I go into the thumb grip underneath, when I'm not wearing any sort of gloves, it actually sort of rubs my thumb badly, and it hurts and starts to blister and everything. Yeah, tough it out or whatnot, but your sword shouldn't be causing you pain. That's just not cool. So you might have to do a little bit of extra filing, if you're so inclined. So it's not too big of a deal, but I think it's something to look out for in quality control if Regenyei ever sees this video. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Another thing I wanted to talk about with the ring-hilted sword as well is that if you're wearing gloves like these red dragons here, it's actually a little difficult to do the thumb grip because I found that my thumb bit keeps getting caught, so transitioning into the thumb grip can be kind of difficult because the thumb piece gets caught in the ring. I actually talked to Scott about this. I asked him, why are the rings sized the way they are? And he got back to me after he asked Regenyei, and he said that the design as it stands is a sort of compromise between historical designs and what can be used in a tournament. So any bigger rings would just be, historically inaccurate, and then it could lead to weird things in fighting. So, I don't know. Maybe when the St. Mark gloves comes out, maybe they'll fit through the rings better, but I'm also using red dragons, which are, meh. They're mech gloves, so that's that. So, yeah. That's really all there is to say about these. They're really good swords. They handle nicely. They've got pretty decent track record. I have heard of a few instances of them breaking recently, but I mean, they're very popular swords, so it could be down to a bad batch of steel with the ones that broke. It could be down to, what was I looking for? Bad batch of steel. It could be just down to sheer numbers, just because, the more swords you make, the more likely you're going to get of them breaking. Say you've got like a percentage of swords, that make it through your quality control. The more swords you make, that percentage stays the same, but the number goes up. So that's that. So yeah, I think that's all to talk about this, and so I think now I'm going to talk about one personal issue I've had with these in the past. Alright, so we're getting to the point of the review where I've covered just about everything, but not quite, so if I start jumping across from like topic to topic, yeah, sorry, I do this off the cuff because I feel that you get a more, what's the word I'm looking for, a more sincere sort of delivery of the message as opposed to when I'm just reading it off of lines. So anyways, I wanted to move on to talk about my own personal hassle I've had with these swords, and I should give you fair warning here that my problems that I've had are apparently very unique. So I've talked with Scott Brown about this a lot, and I really do want to give Scott a huge shout out for his customer service that HEMA supplies, because the first sword I got actually ended up getting a loose handle within about 2 or 3 classes of use, and so he took it back, and he couldn't really he wasn't able to replicate the problem himself, but I mean, I had sent him videos of the issues, so he accepted it and took it back, and he replaced it with this one. So I ended up getting one of these first, and then I got the colored one later as a replacement. So it seems to, I don't know if it's just because of the weather here in Virginia or something, but this is Mike's Fetter, and it's doing a similar thing. It's not as bad as other examples, but in this sort of section of the handle, it's gotten loose. So when you shake it in this plane, you can very, very easily feel that something is shifting, be it like the wood or something. It feels like the tang isn't really very well fitted to the handle. So I don't know if that's quality control or if it's just from the way they make them. Because as far as I'm aware, the way they make their handles is I guess they probably just, make the slabs of wood and, cut out the holes for the tang and then stick them on, and, whatever wiggle room there is, they epoxy it or, use some sort of adhesive. It's the best I can come up with to explain the sort of behavior that I've had. Now the problem is, my first sword did it, Mike's sword did it, and this one has done it. It isn't acting up right now, strangely, mainly just I think because I haven't really been using it very much. I haven't gotten to use it for a lot of classes, but within a little while in practice in class, you can definitely start to feel the handle shaking, and it even started rattling at one point. I'll post a little clip at the end to show this sword rattling before. It seems to have stopped for now. But again, it started doing it very, very soon after getting it within like 3 or 4 classes of use. And the common denominator seems to be that when we were practicing the sort of Gemeinfechten, the common fencing, and we were practicing with people striking at the flat of our swords, and just letting them hit the sides of the sword, sort of like a pell. And I don't know, it just seemed to come loose after that, and I don't know if that's a design flaw or if it's just our particular examples, but it's an issue I've had. But despite all this, Scott has been amazing as far as customer service goes, and I really hate being that guy that keeps having a problem with his stuff. But Scott is very understanding, and he wants to make sure that we're happy with whatever purchase we've made. So even after I've had, issues with the first one and then issues with the second one, he's still willing to take back the second one and send me a new one. And we even talked about it, and after, say, if it happens a third time, he'd be willing to just give me a refund. So it's really great customer service. So if you have any problems at all with your sword, get in contact with him. He might take a few hours to a day or so to respond. He's a busy man, but he will get back to you. He's very professional, and excellent customer service. I couldn't recommend him enough, just because he's so nice and everything. But that's been my issue, and I think I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with my sword, because it's not acting up right now. I might give it another class or so, but I think in the end I probably am going to send this back, and I might just ask for a refund and go for a different sword. I'm not quite sure yet, but I mean, in the end of the day though, I'm kind of sad to see this go, because I do like these swords. I like them a lot. They're really great. They're the blades haven't broken or bent or anything. They're just good handling, rugged swords, and they yeah. So what else can I really say? Couldn't recommend them more. So yeah, I think that's all I really have to say for now. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you got some good info out of it, and yeah, definitely check out Scott at HEMA Supplies, and don't take my personal story just to excuse not getting one of these, because they're really good. I mean, they are becoming the quote HEMA standard, just because they're so common and so widely used. So yeah, guys, I've been Mark, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this, got some good info, and I'll see you for some other videos in the future. Take care.